It is not often in your life when you get an opportunity to talk to a legend, but that's my opportunity now, and I speak, of course, of Michael Pinball Clemens, who for years ran the fields and the gridirons of the Canadian Football League, later become a coach and win Grey Cups in both player and coach capacities, then move into business and charity, and to have a stamp named after him. Congratulations, my friend.
Well, listen, thank you so much. And as you were doing the intro, right, I thought you were saying me having a chance to sit down with you.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, so.
You are so charming. You always have been. It's good to see you. We're going to spend a few segments together and play these over time on 100 Holly Street. Welcome back. Good to have you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Let's talk about this American who came to Canada and found a home. And truly, you talk about breaking glass ceilings. You did so when it came to citizenry and loyalty, and you came here, and what a difference maker you've been. It all started for you in Florida.
It did, yes.
You were raised by a single mother?
I sure was. My mom was a single mom, and maybe I want to start here. I always sort of overlooked my dad here. So my dad was the first college graduate in his family, and he was the college intern at her high school.
Huge
deal. Yeah, huge deal.
Big deal.
Huge deal.
Yeah.
And when they had a relationship that wasn't supposed to happen. She was the high school prom queen, and he was the college student, and he actually, wanted to continue a relationship. She didn't want his family to think that she was sticking close to him because he was the college graduate. She was proud, and so with that, they kind of grew apart. But he paid for a course for her, an administration course, and she originally wanted to be a nurse. She was pregnant with me. She had to work, so she kind of gave up her dream to work and to do those things. But Dunedin, where the Blue Jays trained, down in Florida, right? Yeah. She was the first person of color to work in an administrative position for the city of Dunedin, and he helped to make that happen. Now, as we went along, I think he was really a father figure for many young people that didn't have fathers. He taught for some 30 years. He was not only a teacher, he was a coach. He ran the youth center. He was the president of Sickle Cell Foundation. So I really...
He was a leader.
He was a leader. And so I really want... And while he wasn't necessarily around all the time, it was more because I didn't need it, because my mom was so great. She sacrificed so much. He lived about an hour and a half away.
So he was in your life.
Yes, from time to time. But my mom... extraordinary.
She, I think you call her a big mentor. She was the one who every day you came home to.
No doubt about it.
Did she cast vision early in your life that you could make a difference and do something significant?
So the big thing for her was education. She educated, like as a little guy, right? I could always run, right? And but I loved to run, but she really stressed education. That was the big deal. If I got a C, I couldn't play sports. And I tell my kids, a C isn't this thing that you call a C today, right? A C was a 75 to an 84. Yeah. So all my marks had to be 85 above. And she didn't do that because she was mean. She did it because she believed in me, right? She knew that I was able and capable. And so she was, she's more responsible for me sitting here today than I am myself.
So you began playing football, Michael, and in the United States, in the South.
Yes.
You pick up a football.
That's right.
And by the time you are 14, you moved to Clearwater.
Yes.
And when do people start taking notice that this young man can run with a ball?
Well, at 11 years old, I actually had my jersey retired in a local restaurant.
Good.
Good back then. So it started really early, and but the challenge was I was so small, so it's going to the next level. So can he play in high school?
Yeah.
And right away in high school, and in grade 9, I had a great year on the junior varsity team, and they brought me up to the varsity team at the end of the year when they went to the playoffs. I got to practice with the team. Didn't get a chance to play, but got a chance to practice with the team.
That's a huge thing.
That's
huge
right.
thing in high school football.
That's right. That's right. Especially in the States, and then so played in varsity football from grades 10 through 12. Started the whole time through, and was really successful. But a part of that is she, I started carrying the Bible, even earlier than I started carrying the football. When you grow up in the little Southern Baptist church there, I went straight from being born to the first pew of the church. That's what happens, and so within there, she really just stressed balance and understanding that God is at the head of this.
When you began to be recruited, was Division I the dream? To go to a Division I college school?
Yeah, I think we all have these dreams of going to the big school. And being a Florida guy, Florida State, Florida, Miami, all three of those schools were thriving at the time. So that is the dream. My dad went to a little school called Florida A&M University.
I know it, yeah.
And so I was thinking, you know, maybe I would have a
football
chance to
team
go there. Football team there as well, smaller, 1AA. So I was thinking somewhere there, but didn't really get an offer from any of the big schools. But as time went along, I got an offer, kind of got a couple of offers from some smaller schools. A little school called the College of William and Mary, the second oldest school behind Harvard, was where I landed. Harvard was interested, Columbia was interested as well.
And that's in Virginia, that's where you went.
That's right.
So you go there and things continue to accelerate and you end up being drafted in the NFL draft by the Kansas City Chiefs?
It was a mistake, though. I went to William and Mary for academics. I had my degrees in economics.
So your mother's learning and teaching emphasis and your father's mentoring from a distance, all that came together. You went to a high academic school?
That's right. And so that's where I was really going. And I was interning at a company called Honeywell, right? And they were going to pay for me to get my MBA. So I had graded out in the 90% all 3 summers I had worked there. And so I was going to football messed it up.
Did you have any idea the NFL was looking at you, that the scouts from the Chiefs were looking at you?
Well, they told me, Coach Laycock told me at the end of the year, or even earlier in the year, says, Michael, there's some teams looking at you. And I said, Coach, I'm not interested. They all think I'm too small anyway. I already got a job working with Honeywell, and I'm good.
You got a career going.
So that was my...
Get my MBA paid for.
Yes, right. So for me, my focus was totally different. And even after going to the Combine, I got invited to the Combine, and that's another long story. I won't bore you with it, but basically I wasn't going to go because I didn't know what it was. And, it wasn't on TV like it is now.
Yeah.
And this guy sat on the phone for 30 minutes convincing me that I should go. So I eventually went, and I was, I see all these guys, and they're so big, they're so strong, they're so fast. When it came to the skills of the game, I was rated the number one running back, I'm sorry, when it came to the skills of the game, but they were all so big and so strong, and it was amazing. And so I was a little bit overwhelmed at the beginning, and I was underwhelmed at the end. I was like, hey, I can actually play with these guys, but I still didn't take them serious. I still didn't think I was going to get drafted.
Sometimes, somewhere along the way, you got the attention of the Canadian Football League.
Yes.
And was it primarily Toronto? Was it Toronto all the time that began to pursue you, or are there other CFL clubs?
Actually, Calgary had my rights.
Really?
And so I had gone and played a year in Kansas City, made the team, played a year, didn't stay to their off-season program. I went back to finish school. I promised my mom I was going to do that.
Still had to promise mom.
That's right. So we went. When I came back, I then complicated that by pulling a hamstring for the first time in my life. Of all things, we got money for the first time. They're playing racquetball. So we had already done a workout at the stadium, and we had, done a physical workout, a running workout, and then we go back and I'm playing racquetball at the end of the day. Best shape of my life, pull a hamstring. So they eventually released me, and rightly so. And then I have the opportunity to go to Canada. Calgary has my rights. I've got.
Had you ever been up here before?
Had not. No. So, but I am, channeled here going to Calgary, and they call up and say, I'm sorry, we had a quarterback that got hurt during training camp, and so we're going to need to bring in another player. So I think they kind of had me as a reserve that they were thinking about bringing, but they weren't really sure. And soon as they released me, Toronto picks me up because of Ralph Sazio. Then the general manager
of the Argos?
He actually went to William and Mary. So his brother Jerry Sazio scouted me and knew about me, and
so you may have been the conversation over how you doing, brother, talking football, and you came up.
That's right.
So it was all about a relationship.
All about relationship.
Yeah.
That is it.
So then you come here, and the rest really is history.
It indeed.
This country fell in love with you. The city first fell in love with you, then a league and a country, and. You moved, how many years in active player were you?
12 years as an active player.
And then you sat aside for a little while, did some other things, and they said, hey, can you can you come run the operation?
Can
you put on a suit?
Yeah, actually, I went straight from playing
Right
one week
into management
to coaching the next week. It was at the break.
So you didn't settle down for a while.
No.
Forgive me.
So I coached then for several years, and we in 2000 I came in at the end of the season, and we kind of patched things up, and we were able to have a winning record the second half of the season. So we went 6-4 the second half of the season. The next year, right, when I had the full season, you think, okay, now I got my feet wet, everything is good, have a full season, we'll give this a real go, right? No, we were 7-11, and so then I went to the front office, right, and because I said I never wanted to coach, right? I was enjoying it, but I said I never wanted to do it, and because I've seen it be a rough life on family. And then in the middle of that season, we weren't doing well again, and the then owner asked me if I would come back to coach again. And so at that point
they believed in you.
They did. So in 2002, I came back, and in 2004, I became the first coach of color to win the Grey Cup as a head coach, and that I was the smallest part of that equation, literally, right? It was because we had great coaches around us, great players around us, and a larger group. The ownership that came in was so supportive. There was a leader by the name of Keith Pelly, who was the CEO, was an amazing guy as well, and so we had a great group, and we continued on.
But at the end of the day, with all of the people, all the relationships, even including a beautiful wife and family, a loving mother, talk about the most important relationship that you have in your life that's eternal.
And it is one that my mom stewarded, right? She really gave me that really strong upbringing and witness of what it looks like to have a relationship with God, and ultimately, right, that He would lead me through everything, and God has consistently exceeded my expectations. I really don't know, and we talk about all the things. I was recently told that I was, we're going to be inducted into the Canada Sports Hall of Fame.
You're on another level.
And for about 12 seconds they fooled me. But for about 12 seconds I thought that made me special. And I realized, very quickly that it truly is my God, my Lord and Savior, who makes me special. And really just having that purpose in life, understanding why we're here, right? And constantly being able to say, right, whatever situation I am in, right, as long as I'm with Him, right, I'm in the right place. As long as I put Him first, I'm in the right place. It gives me, it's the dynamic by which I love my wife, by which I help to raise my kids, and it's the way I integrate with life. It's not something that I always consciously think about. Subconsciously, it's just a part of my being.
Whether you experience prosperity or adversity,
yes,
Christ is still the center.
Still
pulls it together, keeps it sane in the midst of a crazy world.
Yeah, so, and he's blessed us so much, and I always remind my wife, I say, we should be prepared to live like the most humble people in the world, right? And enjoy it and embrace it, right? And so with that, as He's shown us favor, really it's our job to steward that and to pass that along, and to make sure that our life is built around trying to help others and to help others rise. But mostly, right, and this is the part where I need to, I believe, get better, is to tell them about Him. I'm part of this modern generation who is politically correct sometimes, and I don't want to force my God on people, right? I want them to see it through me and how I behave and how I act. Sometimes I just need to say it, right? I just need to just say, this is my God, this is who he is, this is
what he did for me.
Yes, exactly.
I'm so glad you came to see us today.
Well, it's always a pleasure to see you, you know, and I'll come see you anytime.
I wish you would.
All right,
Thanks
all
so
right.
much.
Thank you. God bless you.
very much.
Okay.
Pinball, what can I say?